And here is what most people never realize. This hair shrinks up to 75% of its actual length. Straighten it out and it can literally reach your waist. Built to protect, built to survive, built to last forever.
Gonna see girlie, gonna take you down the railway station. Cause right about now we're gonna send you on a program vacation, y'all. It's gone into the situation. Yeah. Walk right on in. Tell you baby and it will be no sin, yeah. You got to step right in. Ain't got no ticket then you ain't got no chance to walk right in. No baby, don't step right out to tell ya. Cause I got a music and a count and a shoot to get you out to walk right in, yeah. You are loving not another baby girl, you may change but I will never say. And you got to let them go, you got to let them stay, you got to let it shine along the way. I figure you walk right in, baby girl, gonna step right out, yeah. Cause if my heart was like a cabbage and I cut it to the leaves, I give to others, but the soul I give to you. I never make you blue, so now walk right in, yeah. Tell you, baby, now to come over you and sit in my lap, but let me give you some soda pop. And don't you call me cup, but tell you, baby, you're my lollipop, yeah. Walk right in, baby girl, step right out. And if you're feeling kinda tired and go to school a couple of years, then I still you see your papa's a weasel. Oh baby girl, walk right in, yeah. Little bold people's not so cheap, I tell ya. I kinda don't know where to find them. Leave our man alone and I will come on, but I won't bring no tears behind him. Yeah, walk right in, baby. Love is all I need to tell you, baby. So the story goes. Like night. Until you get wrong and get no right, until you really loving you upside. Till you baby got to walk right in. And stick up in until you red nuts and gin come in understanding, y'all. And come and walk right in. Yeah. Love is one to bring to you, got to let it bring.
Tinker Step Right Up, sounds of Iroy, the great Iroy, one of Sir Coxson's favorite artists from the Coxsson Iroy album. Yeah, man. You would have heard some of that information and details during the time of when we did a tribute to Sir Christopher. We talked to, of course, Lloydie Coxsson. If you've never heard it before or you never get a chance to, we're gonna play that one of the Sundays. We're gonna do that one of the Sundays. But in terms of our girls, ladies who are out there doing their stuff and doing their hairstyles and all these things, you just heard me play something a little while ago. Someone said they missed some of it, so they just wanted me to sort of touch it back again. So let me just touch it back in terms of the afro, the hairstyle from Africa.
Science just proved that African hair is not just hair. It is a biological shield built to survive the sun. For thousands of years under the brutal African sun, this hair evolved to protect the scalp from extreme heat. Those tight curls create a natural air pocket that blocks heat like a helmet. And here is what most people never realize. This hair shrinks up to 75% of its actual length. Straighten it out and it can literally reach your waist. Built to protect, built to survive, built to last forever.
Built to survive and built to grow forever. Now, let me tell you something right now. I saw something the other day, and some of you may have seen it as well. You know those guards that guard Buckingham Palace with the red suit jackets, well, the red jacket coats, black with the red stripe down the side, and then they got this big helmet thing, bucket thing on top of their heads, like it's, I thought at one stage it was like, now I get to see, because I can put the pictures to what I saw the other day. All right? Let me just introduce myself this morning, because, of course, many of you are on the YouTube right now, and some of you are looking for that link, so I'm going to and give it to you right now if you've not done so already. Of course, many of you out there do wait on me to do that services. Let me play this song before I start the chatting thing, because we've seen something the other day. You may have seen it where originally the style that those guys have on their heads originally came from the Africans, because they had hairstyle that way, in that fashion. It's kind of hard to describe it to you if you've never seen the pictures or the photos on your mobile phones. But if you go to your mobile phones and look at the history of the African hairstyle, it probably will show you the images that they had in terms of how they had their hairs back in them days. Tall and broad and wide, and as the extract just played a while ago, the hair had power. It had glory, it had style, it had fashion, it had a lot of things. Nowadays, a lot of women spend a lot of time going to the hairdressers or those hair product shops to buy chemicals to put in their hair to make it look like a European hairstyle, hanging down as if it's So the more straighter your hair was, the more you feel you look real, you're the real deal. But really, chemicals can do damage to your hair. My mom, back in the day, she used to be a hairdresser. She used to do a lot of hairs, and things changed in the hair industry, where a lot of hair products came up and a lot of hairdressers came about, and a lot of ladies had their hairs done. I think one of the worst parts that I've experienced when a woman would be in front of me or we go to a dance is that wet look, drip thing kind of thing. You know, you have a dance with a woman who's got a wet look, and by the time you turn wrong, it's like it's smelling your clothes, and it wasn't. And it was very easy to catch a fire too. Flammable. Yeah, flammable. You know, you couldn't put much of a light too close to the hair because it would catch a fire. Let me play this one here right now. Pat Kelly. Yeah, classic. Pat Kelly. Let's talk about love. That word. Love.
It's hard to build a better nation with different races. When every day you awoke, there are new faces. No godly love, but there is always a daily grace. And nothing to erase from each night's horrible traces. Yet they talk about love. They talk about love.
They talk about love.
They talk about
Sounds of Pat Kelly.
love, sweet love.
Them days, some sounds play some big songs back in them days, I tell you. Scanner rated up. Yeah, man, I tell you.
It's hard to build a better nation with different races. When every day you awoke, there are new faces. No godly love, but there is always a daily grace. And nothing to erase from each night's horrible traces. Yet they talk about love. They talk about love. They talk about love, 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 oh sweet love. Day in, day out, the nation try for more power. Brotherly love. But easier to write a story in a longer hour. Brotherly love. No brotherly love, no sisterly love, for they're alone. And it took a miracle to put love into hatred. Yet they talk about love. They talk about love. They talk about love, 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 oh sweet love. Listen. Day in, day out, the nation cry for more power. Brotherly love. But it's easier to write a story in a longer hour. Brotherly love. No brotherly love, no sisterly love, for they're all one. And it took a miracle to put love into hatred. Yet they talk about love. They talk about love. They talk about love, 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 oh sweet love.
Kelly there talking about love there. A man who done some great songs over the years, no longer with us right now, but enough respect to the elders who had played a great part in the sound system era. Now, I've got a tune here. I got a tune here that, yeah, I've had it for a long time. And some of these songs I played in my little bedroom when I was living with mom and dad and the children. And yeah, man, I was known for my music collection at home. Let me play this one here right now. Wartime tunes today, so we have some war tunes to play, you know? All right, so take a listen to this, the old-time connoisseurs of Vinyl Sunday.
What was this from the old and Eden? Now reveal to the babe and suckling. Now reveal to the babe and suckling. As the third and the fourth generation and creation. And I go down a Kingston. Then I go down a Mobay. And then I go down a Mandeville.
I'm sure I got another piece of this somewhere. What on it? I can't be playing that. That sounds a bit too rough to play right now. But let's go one step better. Let's go one step better. We're going to go inside the sounds of John Holt. And, of course, those songs from John Holt make you move sometime. Yeah, it does. The ballad of John Holt. I tell you. Like I said before, at the start of the show, many people went out last night. There was a lot of events last night, here, there, and everywhere. And I hope you all had a great time. Of course, a great time. Take a listen to this. Sounds of a man called Mr. John Holt. My Heart Is Gone. I don't think this track is on any of the albums that he's done. And if there is one, let me know.
My heart is gone. I need someone to lean on. How can I forget you, girl, when I want someone to cry on? 'Cause ever since you've been gone, girl, I've been living in a misery. Yeah. Now that you are here, please don't you have no fear. Just stay with me, baby. Oh, all through the years. 'Cause ever since you've been gone, girl,
You have been living in misery.
I've been living in a misery. Yeah.
The story of the volcano sound.
Cause ever since you've been gone, girl, I've been living in a misery. Yeah. Now that you are here, please don't you have no fear.
I think next week is another bank holiday weekend. Yeah, I think it is. We're gonna double check on that. Of course, Vinyl Sunday, 163 Erdington in Birmingham. Of course, Gangalee and Gyro will be at, of course, in Birmingham. I think it's next week Sunday. Yeah, it is. Well, all right. Of course, those records have been played quite a few times, and of course, you call them vintage tune. I will tune them, you know. So, you know, when you get a brand new 45 or a brand new, an album really, you can get albums nowadays, and the price of albums nowadays in HMV, wow, £30, £40, even down to even down to £60 for some albums, vinyls, because vinyls are coming back and coming back in fine style also as well. It's a great feeling to know that we can keep what we have and preserve because other people want to get a hold of them. Now, I was in my studio last night. I wasn't aware what was happening right now, but it seems to me as if something gone on in the United States in terms of a dinner dance that Donald Trump had put on or attended or whatever, and a gunman was in the building and a whole heap of things go on and escorted out to the building and all sorts and pictures from different angles. So before we start judging, really, we just got to look at the different angles because I'm kind of concerned about some of the stuff that I've seen on the mobile phone in terms of what really happened that night yesterday. All right, so it kind of drew my attention away from my planning of what my show was going to be about because I was there in my studio just gawping at the TV, looking at what am I seeing here right now. Now, the guy who they caught and arrested is a very lucky guy, because usually when you have people with guns and running around and shooting people, etc., they don't live, they die, they kill them. This man is still alive. Why is this man still alive? Under the circumstances that this man, whatever his motive was to, of course, they're trying to say his intent was to go for Donald Trump, whether it was true or not. But this man is still alive. Yeah. And if you were to look at the picture to find out who he was, you'd be kind of surprised, because I'm kind of surprised. What nationality is this brother right now? Yeah, strange things. The pressure is on in New York because what they're saying right now, in terms of one of the commentators said, I was listening to the news, that they were saying that how can all these people dressed up in their dicky bow ties and pretty dresses sit down to have meal for a grand occasion, whatever the occasion was, when you're killing people around the world and people out there starving, etc. If you understand what I'm saying. They're very strange. It's very strange. But let me get back to what I was talking about right now, because we're going to hear more about the situation regarding that situation right now throughout the rest of the day and for the week. And don't forget, next week, King Charles travels to the same place, USA. So what's the security going to be like? Because he'll be thinking to himself, what's happened there? America's supposed to have the best security and all these things around Donald Trump, and yet still a man get in there. So what's really going on? Well, all right. So shout out to all the people on the YouTube. Big up all my school colleagues. Big up all my Facebook massive. Big up on yourself. I've just sent messages to the Facebook. Enough respect. And all the Facebook people who was on my story yesterday and from Friday. Enough respect. Thank you. I love the response. Seriously. I really do. And also those on my contact as well. Big enough respect to you all as well. For those who were in tune last week, Sunday, we had Kitty Corbett in the house last week. Sunday, yeah. What an interview. Of course, it's up on the YouTube. You can catch it as well on the Godfather's platform. You can catch it there as well. And, of course, shout out to my new colleagues that I've met this week and talked about what they wanted to do on my show. And, they're quite interested in terms of things we're going to talk about. One of the things we're going to talk about, and it's always been a myth, but is it reality? We hear it from the other side of our brothers. Because no matter how much we want to talk about different parts of the Caribbean or the different parts of Africa, we all start civilization from one place. All started from one place. And I have something here. I got something here that I've written down here right now. And it's based on why do they hate us? Or why do we each hate each other? All right? Why do we hate each other? Yeah. Why do we? Well, before we go that far, let's go to a conversation from a sound system that the police in Jamaica back in them days, in the 1980s, used to arrest these artists because they thought they were troublemakers. And that time, artists in Jamaica didn't really have a freehold. The police did. A popular sound system back in the 1980s. Yeah, Volcano Sound Crew. The Volcano Crew from that time. And I want to say, before we go any further, congratulations going out to, of course, Winston Mexican and the Love Injection family for their performances last night with their colleagues and friends from abroad. I'm sure you're going to hear more about that later on this afternoon from the Big Bad Captain. And for all those who went down there, big up yourself. I'm sure you had a good time. Let me go into this right now. Volcano sound system from the days of 1980. Hear the history, because we've got a few history to talk about in a short while around sound system. The system that we used to enjoy every day. I tell you, every weekend, a sound would play somewhere. No matter how good you were, no matter how slow you were, no matter how predictive you were, sounds had a chance to play.
The story of the Volcano sound system doesn't begin with music. It begins with suspicion.
Babylon, come and tell me that no right.
In the volatile streets of early 1980s Kingston, where politics, poverty, and survival collided daily, anything powerful enough to draw crowds, control attention, and influence youth was automatically placed under a microscope. Volcano was not just powerful, it was unstoppable. And in the eyes of the police, anything that unstoppable had to be dangerous. So, before a single record spawned or a single lyric echoed through a dance, the crew was already being watched, studied, and quietly labeled as trouble. The mastermind behind this explosive movement, Henry Junjo Laws, was no ordinary producer. Born in 1960 and raised in the gritty Olympic Way area of West Kingston, Junjo came from an environment where instincts were sharpened early and survival required intelligence, boldness, and connections. His entry into music in 1978 as part of the Grooving Locks trio seemed humble, but his encounter with Linval Thompson changed everything. From Thompson, Junjo didn't just learn music, he learned the runnings of the industry, the unspoken rules, the hustle behind the hits, and how to navigate a business where talent alone was never enough. That knowledge would later make him one of the most influential and controversial figures in dancehall history. As Junjo's vision grew, so did the machinery behind it. Working with the legendary Roots Radix, he crafted rhythms at Channel 1 Studio on Maxfield Avenue, rhythms that felt raw, hypnotic, and unapologetically street. But the magic didn't stop there. The sounds were then taken to King Tubby's Drumley Avenue studio, where sonic alchemy happened to the hands of engineering giants like King Tubby and his brilliance. What emerged was a new era. Dancehall was no longer just an offshoot of reggae. It was becoming its own aggressive, commanding force. And Volcano was leading the charge. By the early 1980s, Volcano had transformed into a musical army. The lineup was constantly rotating, but the talent level never dropped. On any given night, you could hear lyrical fire from Josie Wales, Burrow Banton, Yellowman, Charlie Chaplin, or Ranking Toyin, while smooth, unforgettable vocals came from Barrington Livy, Little John, Coco T, Junior Reid, and Johnny Osborne. Behind the scenes, selectors like Danny Dredd and operators such as Papa Steve and Inspector Willie controlled the energy like conductors of chaos. When Volcano entered a sound clash, it wasn't just competition, it was domination, often humiliating rivals like Black Scorpio and Lee's Unlimited. But here's where the story twists from legendary to controversial. Because while fans saw stars, police saw something else entirely. The early 1980s dancehall scene was deeply entangled with Rudy or bad man culture, a world where street credibility mattered just as much as musical skill. The dances were held in communities already under heavy surveillance, and the crowds often included individuals from every layer of society, including those living on the edge of legality. To law enforcement, Volcano didn't just look like entertainment, it looked like a gathering point for potential criminal activity. And once that perception formed, it hardened into belief. That belief had consequences. The harassment was relentless, and for some, it turned violent. Barrington Livy would later recall a moment that perfectly captured the reality of that era. As a young man, he was stopped by police and accused of smoking ganja. When he insisted that he only smoked cigarettes, the officers didn't accept his answer. Instead, they beat him badly. It was a brutal, humiliating encounter that left more than physical scars. It left emotional ones. And from that pain came music. His experience directly influenced the lyrics of Under Me Sensi, a song that would go on to become a classic. Behind the rhythm and melody, however, was a story of injustice that many listeners never fully understood. Still, it would be inaccurate, and frankly unfair, to paint the entire Volcano crew with one brush. Yes, some individuals connected to the wider circle lived dangerous lives, or became entangled in criminal activity. The most infamous example is Ranking Dread, though not as one of Junjo's most prominent or consistently featured artists like Ikamouse or Barrington Livy. He transitioned from music into the shadows of organized crime. Once known for his song Fati Boom Boom, he later gained notoriety as one of the most feared figures in Britain, linked to violent gang activity and wanted in connection with numerous crimes. His life eventually ended in prison in 1996, a tragic fall that reinforced every suspicion the authorities already had about the dancehall world. Yet for every story like that, there were many more of artists who simply wanted to perform, create, and survive. The tragedy is that in an environment as chaotic as Kingston in that era, innocence didn't always matter. Association alone could make you a target. And for the Volcano crew, association was everything. They moved together, performed together, and lived within the same social ecosystem. To the police, that was enough. Then came the deaths, each one adding another layer of mystery, fear, and speculation to the Volcano legacy. Prince Farrar was assassinated in 1983 under circumstances that still spark debate, with some later allegations controversially linking his killing to individuals connected to the Volcano circle. Louis Lepke was shot and killed in New York in 1987. Lee Van Cleef met a similar fate in Brooklyn that same year. Ranking Toyin was gunned down in Jamaica in 1991. Earleby was murdered in Massachusetts in 1994. Years later, Lincoln Style Scott, a key member of the Roots Radics, was found dead in 2014, and Gilly Priest was killed in 2020. One by one, the headlines painted a chilling picture, one that made it almost impossible for outsiders to separate the music from the violence surrounding it. Even Junjo himself could not escape the storm he helped create. His prison sentence in the United States for drug-related charges only deepened the suspicion that followed the Volcano name. Then, in 1999, his life ended violently when he was shot dead in London. The circumstances were widely believed to be linked to drug world conflicts, though those close to him described him as a fair and straightforward man, someone who understood the streets but was ultimately driven by music. His death felt like the final, tragic punctuation mark on a story that had always lived on the edge. Were they criminals or musicians? The truth is, they were products of a harsh environment where music and street life were inseparable. Because of that, the Volcano crew was often misunderstood and constantly targeted. Some crossed the line, many didn't, but none were ever seen as just artists. Despite the harassment, violence, and suspicion, their music endured. Volcano didn't fade, it shaped dancehall, and its sound still echoes today. Maybe the police didn't fear crime, they feared power, the kind that could influence a generation and turn struggle into timeless music. Until next time, stay blessed, stay conscious, and keep the roots alive. Rastafari.
Holy man will I King Selassie I Jah. Rastafari, I Selassie the first lives and rules and reigns.
Mr. Money Man, Mr. Money Man,
you have it, the sounds of Volcano and the story behind many of the artists who was around that time in the 1980s with the sounds of the Volcano sound system. As the program said in that was Barrington Levy had a very, very bad experience, plus many others. One of the great sounds back in them days, of course, Josie Wells was in that sound as well, and many others. And then you had, of course, the one new sound from you, Roy. Brigadier Jerry was also part of that as well. Stereograph sound system came afterwards. But of course, Brigadier and also Josie Wells and many others followed you, Roy, back in them days. Just going through my mobile phone here right now. I just saw a message right now. And sometimes you see things on the phone and it's like, why do people do these things? Some things are true, some things are not true. I just saw something a while ago and I says, wow, nah, it can't be. No, I haven't heard nothing at all. It would have been big news. Samuel Jackson, in loving memory. Yeah. Famous actor, for those who don't know who Samuel Jackson is, the famous American actor. It says here in loving memory. I'm saying to myself, this man, I didn't hear anything about anybody passing away. And then I went into the comments in terms of, people saying different things. And one person put, stop posting that a person has died and they are still alive. That is not nice at all. It isn't. It isn't. So that tells me, from my first assumption, and people don't check these things. It's like someone says here, so sad. He was such a great actor. Rest in peace. Samuel Jackson. I want to go and kind of Google this properly to get the details and let you know, because I don't think so. I don't think so. And if it does, I haven't seen it on the news, unless it would have been on the Central News or something. I got my TV on right now. I know for a fact I ain't seen nothing come up saying, besides Donald Trump and everything else, Samuel Jackson, the great black actor from the United States of America, has passed away. Rare. I haven't heard nothing at all. Mr. Moneyman. Yeah, man. Upset the production from, of course, Lee Scratch Perry. We did play this one for you right now. We're going to play another one of those sound system extracts. This one's very important. This one's very good as well. Sounds of Tom Wang, Chinese man, sound system-wise in Jamaica. Yeah, man, we get the vinyl a brush up with sound system together.
Whoa, Mr. Money Man. Mr. Money Man, better keep on running, Mr. Money Man. Keep on running and never stop. Hang on to.
It's amazing how they put things on social media and just throw the spanner into the works to see what response they're getting. I'm still reading some of the comments on this. Some people haven't took a chance to look and find out. Let me find out.
Time you've been having us, giving us your $20 bill, bigger to brothers and her sisters.
As a matter of fact, do it yourself right now. Type in Google, find out. It's Samuel Jackson passed. All right, put it in your own words. See what comes up. I'm gonna do it right now.
Mr. Money Man, keep on running, Mr. Money Man. Keep on running, oh yeah. Keep on running, Mr. Money Man. Keep on running, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mr. Money Man. The car jumped the moon and the dish run gone with the spoon. now, Mr. Money Man, better take off to your move. Whether in your dish or your spoon, you've got to reach there soon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Classic reggae music this afternoon.
Got up supper and
Live on the YouTube. Don't forget later on tonight. The rest of the vinyl team. Valentino will be with you later on from 5 till 7:30. And he's got a few tricks up his sleeve as well, coming as well. And also Mr. Fix also on his new platform, TikTok, and also on the streaming platform as well. Big up yourself, Mr. Fix. Yeah, man. Taking, of course, the levels of technology to a different level here on Sunday on scannerradio.org.uk. All right, so before I answer that question for those in tune, now I've Googled it. I've Googled Samuel L. Jackson. Has he passed? The reply I receive for the elders who are not capable of doing what we do so quickly on our mobile phones is the answer is no. Actor Samuel L. Jackson has not passed away. Right. As of April 26, he is 77 years old. Active in his career and offered contribution for his long term in the industry of movies. So, why do they put things on social media? And I get a lot of bashing from my wife about this as well, because I see certain things and she says, nah, that, not Nagosa. And I'm saying, well, how do you know all these things? And she's, sometimes if you look on certain things, it gravitates you as a new looker to gravitate it more and to send it onto other people, and it becomes a distraction, a great distraction. Samuel Jackson, I spent a lot of time. I love him as a movie, as a black artist, a black actor, and we would have heard that information. He says no. Samuel Jackson has not passed away, so we can bury that one right now. Scrap that. Why they put that up, I just don't know. There's a lot of things that concern me and you that we're looking for. We might believe what we see. If we see something on any of the platforms, to make sure, Google it, and Google will give you the correct. I'm going to say Google is always correct in everything it does, but it'll give you a confident answer to what you're looking at. All right, so be careful. Not everything you see on social media, because everybody's using their mobile phones nowadays. Using their mobile phones, especially in the art industry. A lot of you are using AI to do things for you. Yeah, man. Listen, I was sitting back relaxing and I was saying to myself, if everybody's using AI to do their logos, their flyers and all these things without using their own creation, sooner or later, they'll be able to clone you and I, all right, and use our information and details to the cloning machine, the human, temporary, artificial human that they will create with your details, your information, and even down to the way that you talk, thinking that you're still alive. So the same way they can put stuff on the internet for you to believe about certain people passing or certain things that's been happening in Nagosa, it's the same way they can do it with us as well. So sometimes don't be too much reliable on the internet in terms of what's coming out to the general public, because some people will believe, some won't, and sometimes it creates a big argument. It does. It can create, because who's right, who's wrong, who knows? But yourself, in terms of what's original and what isn't original. Well, all right, we're going to play something in a short while from Tom Wang from Jamaica. For all the sound system fanatics who were out last night, we must give, of course, Winston Mexican 40 years of excellency for being in the sound system fraternity. The name has been changed many times, but still there. All right, it's like working in a company, but you just keep on moving with the experience you have and change your name, but you're still in the industry. 40 years of great success. Wish I had a sound system in England right now can top that 40 years of excellency, of performance. He is in the business, sound system wise. And I bet many of you have got some different involvements with, of course, Winston and the crew. Many of the members, like ourselves, Scott on radio right now, 37 years. I mentioned that to a brother of mine yesterday, and he was like, wow. He says, wow. He says, the station's older than me. Yeah, older than me. Wow. And I'm going to be inviting him on very, very soon. And he's chuffed. He sent me some details, etc. I'm still looking through some of the details so far. I haven't made any plans for any interviews so far, but we've got a few that I need to sit down and talk to. And you know, it's all about talking, just take a bit of time. But yeah. One of the topics was based on why Jamaicans are being disliked by other Caribbean islands. Also, why do Africans and Jamaicans dislike each other? That's a conversation that we've been having amongst a couple of people, and have heard conversations of that sort from very different people too. Why are Africans disliking Jamaicans, and why are Jamaicans disliking Africa? And it's a bit like the Sikh and the Hindus and the Asian people, divide and rule and conquer. It's all down based onto the Western behavior in the beginning. I never hated anybody. But one of the conversations that this brother and I had, I'll let you know more about it as time goes on. He says, Father. I says, yes, because they call me Father at work, Father. Big man. And I said, big man. Yeah, big man. Did you know that when they used to put slaves in the ships, those ships were originally built for boxes, to put boxes in. So the way they've compacted the slaves is more like they were in a box, tight together, because the spaces were really built for boxes. Box, you know. And we said, what? Yeah, man. That's why you open a tin of sardine and you say it compact. That's how it was. And he told me more, but I don't want to upset your breakfast right now. But yeah, he told me more. Interesting. He sent me some details. I'm gonna sort of look at his details. He's done an interview already, but that was in 2022. Do some different things to the book, because obviously his book's gone out somewhere, but something went wrong, and he's going to try and. He sent me the hard copy, which I need to sit down and read it and understand a little bit more, because obviously there's a lot of different parts of Africa that I don't know about, you don't know about, but we know about the history of the fact that you've heard the talk before. Jamaicans don't like Africans and Africans don't like Jamaica. Whether that's, we'll find out what really goes on and what happened and why it's like that. We'll talk to the brother soon. So I'll let you all know what's going on. All right? All right? Something that we've heard before. You heard your mom throw some words, or your daddy throw some words, or your friend throw some words, and it's more like a misunderstanding. Mashing up the human race. You know that tune, misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. That's what's mashing up the human race. Let me play this tune here right now, because, you know, so it's Vinyl Sunday. And the rest of my Vinyl Sunday team have got some excellent songs to play later on. I know Mr. Fix has got some wicked tunes out there right now. The Music Machine himself, of course. And don't forget, coming very soon on the 18th of July, down at the Connaught Hotel in Wolverhampton, Tetnall Road. Of course, it's the all-white brunch party. All-white brunch. Have you got whites in your wardrobe? Yeah, all whites? Yeah, man. Yeah, I think I just need to get a pair of white trousers, because the one I've got, I'll probably just stick it on. So I'm only going to be waiting for the ones in the year. So what am I buying a new one for? I've got one stuck up in the wardrobe somewhere. I have. I've got one stuck up in the wardrobe. So that all-white party coming soon, courtesy of course, Mr. Fix, L Vibes and the crew. Doing it again after an excellent night at Caesars last week, Saturday. shout out to all the DJs doing things on the big one right now. Do you one thing? I mean, you mean you one thing? You mean?
This is the sound of the city. Don't sell your soul in the city, 'cause our time is right now. The sun is rising in the sky. Yeah. The good times right here for you and I.
And before I forget, some good news for the city. Some good news for the city of Wolverhampton. A little later on tonight as well at 10 o'clock. We have, of course, Redskin Levi not in the house tonight. I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, man. On the platform tonight, General Trees Vinyl Sunday. Welcome, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. That's General Trees tonight, 10 o'clock till late. Yeah, man, big up yourself, sir. Play what you have, play what you have.
This is the sound of the city. Don't sell your soul in the city, 'cause our time is right now. The sun is rising in the sky. Yeah. The good times right here for you and I. Put down your troubles, we'll get by. Oh, this is the sound of the city. Don't sell your soul in the city, 'cause our time is right now. Freedom is passing through. Yeah, calling for me and you. Now is the time to go. Yeah, and watch all the wicked do. This is the sound of the city. Alright. Don't sell your soul in the city, 'cause our time is right now. Oh Lord, we slip away. Oh Lord, you slip away right now, right now, right now. Searching but find. Pick up more of your time. Right now, right now. They say that love is alive. Marching for our rights. It's time for us to unite. This is the sound of the city.
Sounds of the city.
Don't sell your soul.
Don't forget today, later on today at 2 o'clock, Big Back Captain in the house as well. Interview start at 3:30. And also as well, 5 till 7:30, of course, Valentino with some excellent music later on, vinyl style. Mr. Fix from 7:30 till 10. And from 10 till late, of course, General Trees. Once again, enough respect.
This is the sound. Oh, people find them a hole them down.
Gonna say shouting out to DJ Sensei, good show yesterday morning while I was out in the garden doing a lot of work. And also as you as well, Mr. Rooster, Mr. Rooster. And also Daddy Skipper doing their thing last Saturday of every month. I was thinking, how did that last Saturday of every month come about for Skipper and also as well Rooster? And I think it came after we did our Sunday, of course, last Sunday of every month. And we play strictly vinyl. All right, so I'm going to play a song here right now. And it's by the voice of Keith Poppins. The last time I played this song, the very famous woman in Wolverhampton called me and said she loved this tune. pull it up again. And then after a few weeks later, she passed. Do you know who I'm talking about? A few weeks later, she passed. I played the song. She says, Godfather, monster, pull it up for me, please. We say goodbye to many people in our own community. And you would have heard the stories about many people passing and passing and passing and passing. There's a time for everybody. Don't know which part of the world is going to happen or where you're going to be at the time, but it's time for you and me. And when the good Lord comes his way and come knocking on our doors, you can't tell him we soon come. Everything stop. We talk about a lady that did a lot in the community of Wolverhampton. And then she became, I don't know you call them, a woman priest. Yeah, in the churches. And I knew her for being down at Gloucester Street Church. But for me, she was well respected. And her family and her friends and everybody around her. You see, no matter what you might think of somebody or how you think of somebody, when your time's up, your heart changes to the emotion of that person. And you start thinking of the good things. From time to time, the bad times will kind of creep in, but they don't creep in for long. Okay, you can't condemn the dead because that part dead, but the experience of life, the motto that they leave out there for you to carry on, the services that person provided for you, the love that you gave to that person for what that person did for you, carries a long way, longer than being evil to talk about somebody because you couldn't get on with them and they've passed away. It doesn't make sense carry on with that foolishness because it doesn't work. Because the person, after a while, their goodness will come into your heart and overpower what you think that is evil. This jealousy thing, it stopped there, sir. You can't take it any further. She goes by the name of Pat May. I'm talking about Pat May. Because every time I play a certain song, she's on it. She may be in the background, she may be quiet, and on everything that I do or say, you're going to, agree with everything that anybody says. Because sometimes in life, as my dad said to me when he was sitting there in the lounge reading his newspaper, he said, son, sometimes you have to pick sense out of nonsense, Because everybody's capable of doing things a certain type of way. And everybody's got a different way of doing things and saying things, but the meaning is still the same. Here's a classic revival style. Big people music. Does this song remind you of somebody near and dearest and has passed away? For me, this is Pat May. Every time I hear the sound, she says, Godfather, put up that one for me. Put it up.
Who are you that I should be mindful of? Yeah. Who are you that I should be afraid of? Yeah. Look how hard I have worked just to earn a bread. Tell me, yet you're telling everybody you'd rather see me dead. Well, if you're cool, calm, well, I am a different man. Listen me tough like lead, man. Listen me hard-headed, yeah. So who you think you are that I should be mindful of? Yeah. Who you think you are that I should be afraid of? Tell
Be mindful of who you condemn in life,
I'm not gonna the other day. I hear your friend they say.
One more time from the top on that one, you know what I mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? I'm saying pull up, Godfather, pull up.
You're not tuned. Pull it up again. Pull it up again. Pull it up again.
Them say, who God bless, no one curse. Imagine sitting in a church and the pastor says to the congregation, who God bless, no man curse. And you got women sitting in the church, so where does the women fit into this argument here right now? Yeah, man, an argument may start right now. Me say, who God bless, no one curse.
That I should be afraid of.
So every time I hear a pastor say the word, who God bless, no man curse, you know what I think? You've got that wrong.
Just to earn a bread.
It's who God bless, no one curse.
Yet you're telling everybody.
Shocking out to Cindy Bridges, big up yourself. I know she has something to say about that right now. Oh, I mean Cindy, big up CJ, big up yourself, sir.
Well, if you're cool, calm, well, I am a different man. Listen me tough like lead, man. Listen me hard-headed.
Now, in the movie industry in America, we're going to America right now. Sammy, is it Sammy J. Jr.? I should have wrote it down, but Sammy J. Jr. The little Jamaican guy, but he was Jamaican or American, I don't know, but Sammy J. Jr. used to move around with Frank Sinatra quite regular in the industry. You see him in many, many movies. And then that little man with the fat head, that little, yeah, that one there, with the long cheek.
I am here today, but tomorrow.
Now, many of you have shared this story, but nobody's really actually comment on it still. I know we can share information and details, and it's great that you are sharing information and details with your colleagues and friends. But after you shared it, where does it go from there? It's in our head, it's in our mind that we've seen it, yeah, okay, back in the days. But things and times have changed because not everybody of another color is bad mind like their own. You know, everybody play a different role regardless of what color you may be. But Frank Sinatra, I hope I said that right, Frank Sinatra played a big part and made a big difference to the people of blacks in America. Gonna play you something in a short while. I want you to listen. Yeah, man, I want you to, yo, you mean? Who are you to judge the next one or to judge anyone? Who God bless, no one curse.
Me hope and a corner the other day. I hear your friend they say, I am here today, but tomorrow I shall fade away, man. Well, if you're king,
because I am a righteous man. I tell you for a fact, that one that sound like it should play again, but we don't talk about that tune already. So big up our late great Pat May, who loved this track entitled "Who Are You." All right, so sometimes we have to ask some man, who is you if you tell me what to do? Who is you if you tell me if you do this and all these things? Yeah, we've used that sentence many times. Who are you? Yeah, man, that's true. There. There's a brother that passed away the other day, and is it him? Is it him? Let me just double check before I do any further. We did a show last week, Sunday, and we talked about the topic called love. And love comes in many different shapes and sizes and different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all about sex. All right, let's scrub that out the window. Love is not all about sex. We start off with sex in the first time we meet, and it's all great and so wonderful. And one says, where were you at the time? And you should have been here a long time. And nothing before it's time. Nothing before it's time. But love, after that part, you know, the real love comes into how you treat each other as a partner. You love somebody, you get married. You love somebody, but you don't get married. The pick is yours. Now, I'm gonna say something here, right? For most people who get married, you get your marriage certificate. When you get your marriage certificate, it's in black and white. So if I can see mine, I can see mine. Well, when you get married in Vegas, that's where I got married. It comes in color, perfect color. Yo, my wedding is on video as well. We treasure it sometimes, and we sit down and watch it and look how things used to be. And boy, sometimes the easy way and the quietest option is to do things behind closed doors. You don't create no fuss, and who wants to fuss, let them fuss. But sometimes it's about you and the person that are living together, and you both put the best foot forward and the best things that's good for the two of you. And that's what I did. All right, who wanted to comment and all these things? That was their problem. Now, 13 years have gone past. Now we've been married 13 years. 13 years, wow, 13 years. And it's good. Yeah, man, it's good. Feels good. Impossible Love. Shall we play that tune? Let's play that tune before we go to the other side of the show. It's nearly 1 o'clock right now. Time on Mufasi. Time's moving pretty quick right now this afternoon here on ScholarRadio.org.uk. With Godfather Live inside the YouTube. For those on YouTube, big up yourself this afternoon and around the world as well. And if you're going to listen to me show a little later on in the afternoon or sometime in the week, big up yourself. Keep listening. Keep sharing the link. Sunday, we have some great shows to come up. We're only in the 4th month of the YouTube. We've got more to come and more to go. So, who knows? For those who had good times and bad times, those who've lost their loved ones where unexpected love had gone, but your hearts are still there, burning same way for your loved ones. Let me say burning, burning upon fire. Oh, you mean? Yeah, you mean? Can I say shout to me WhatsApp family? Keep sending.
When we were together, those were the happiest times in all my life. But now we're separated. I don't know what I will do, 'cause I can't love.
Gonna say shouting out to mother and daughter Pearl and of course Pearl and Sharon up there in Oxley. Good afternoon to you both. I hope you're well. Gonna say good afternoon, good night to the Ghetto Downbeat family.
It's impossible.
By next week we'll have more information based on what's gonna happen soon. I know they're going overseas soon, so we'll get more details and information on that, and also probably talk to one of the members about that trip as well, all right? Shouting out to, of course, Gyro Sound System, played last night at the Bank last night, alongside the band from Leeds, the Chapatonians. Great performances by the band as well, enough respect.
No matter how I try, 'cause I know
It's impossible.
it's impossible. You know, it really, really hurts.
Now, one of the things I've been enjoying is seeing that the roads, some roads have been patched up. I've used the word patch up in them, patch up the roads them in them, mad pothole in them.
There's nothing much you can do.
Imagine if I was a chap who drove around every pothole and dropped one of those cones in the pothole. So the customers, not the customers, the drivers could see that there's a pothole ahead so you can avoid it. But the problem is there's another pothole not as big as the one I put the cone in. Yeah, man. I don't think the council would like that. Everywhere they went, they saw cones everywhere in potholes. I'm sure even the police would say the same thing as well. It's a good idea. If you got a cone, stick it in the pothole. Save all the drivers from damaging their vehicles. How you mean? Yes, Birdie, send all the information to me right away if you want to, sir. How you mean? Manners and respect to you, sir. Vinyl Sunday. Sounds of Honey Boy. I don't know if you can see it right now, but I've got an album behind me right there. Right there. I Feeling the Jackie Rupi Edwards album behind me. You can see it, yeah, you see it? Yeah, you see it? Rupi Edwards, hey, that album that bought. Well, all right, so we're talking about potholes. Potholes. Every driver's nightmare is them potholes. But you think it's only England them potholes appearing? You think it's just England alone? Listen to this.
Me almost dead in that, brother. I dropped in a 2 massive ditches in the road last night on Washington Boulevard.
No, it is very serious.
This is crazy. Who is in charge of the island?
And it's a highway, matter of fact.
Who is the mayor of Kingston?
You.
This is a joke.
And even lower Maxfield Avenue going on to Spanish.
Oh, God, Maxfield Avenue is a disgrace. Lower Maxfield Avenue, man.
The rain fell the other day, and you know, like when you put on blue on a piece of shoes and water touch it, as somebody said the Barbara Green left them all.
Oh, boy.
Yo,
terrible roads in around Kingston, man. So I guess your advice, Bounty Filler, is to drive carefully, because poor people fed up while Babylon still not even get up.
Yo, may I tell you, when you pass Marble going down east, like Ron Bouchard said, avoid the middle lane. When you pass
Washington Boulevard, going west, avoid the middle lane, because everybody who's supposed to be in charge of the island and the roads, they all fell asleep on the job. So if you drop in on that, God have mercy with you, Dread.
Mercy. Oh, you mean?
Out, you don't know people.
Oh, you mean mercy? That was Ron Machette there talking from his show in Jamaica. And we're hoping to he sent me enough messages. I ain't even sent him back one yet, but I'm going to hook him up soon. Ron Machete there on his radio show talking about them potholes in Jamaica, especially in Kingston. If Kingston bad, imagine how the countryside's there. I mean, so you may see some pothole many years ago. And it's like when the car them drive past each other, them flash and then blow them on and then make the other one go first before the other one. You understand? None of this try and get between the little crack hole. No. Them have a way of doing things in Jamaica. Jano. Well, all right. So you were going on. We talked about Frank Sinatra, all right? And when Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali met, what happened? Yeah, man. What happened? Well, what did really happen during that time? I need to find out. We need to find out right now. Take a listen to this here right now. Scannerradio.org.uk. What happened when Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali met? What happened? Yeah, man. What happened? You want to know what happened? Listen up.
Am I the only one that didn't know what happened between Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali? This is such a crazy story. So the story is told by Ali's former wife, Khalila, and she said one time her family took a trip to Miami, and when they got there, they wanted to go to the beach. But in the 60s, black people couldn't be on Miami Beach unless they were working, and if they were working, they had to have a card proving that they were working. Even the most famous black celebrities that were performing at the hotels on the beach couldn't stay on the beach. All the black performers had to stay at a hotel called the Hampton House on 27th Avenue. So the Ali family decided not to go to the beach. They went and checked into their hotel. And staying at this hotel was Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie. They're all hanging out at the hotel. Then all of a sudden, this limo pulls up with Frank Sinatra in it. Frank hops out and says, "We're all about to get on this bus and we're going to Miami Beach." So they all get on the bus. They pull up to this fancy hotel that Frank is performing at that night. They go to the auditorium. Frank gets on stage and he says to everyone, "Listen up. I'm supposed to perform here tonight. You sold a lot of tickets, but these seats in the front row are going to be full of black people. Also, you will allow black people to stay at your hotel. And if these two things don't happen, I'm never performing here again." So Frank and all the black celebrities leave that hotel. They go back to the Hampton House. And within a few hours, a car had been sent to the Hampton House from that hotel with a message for Frank Sinatra. And the messenger said that law has now been lifted. Blacks can now stay at our hotels, and blacks can also attend your performance. And that's when everything changed on Miami Beach. And then Frank said to everybody, my next stop is Las Vegas, and I'm going to do the same exact thing there. Wow. Big shout out to Frank Sinatra. This is a real dope story to me.
Oi! Oi! Them shoulda know a gangooli this, you know. I'm a represent for Skyline Radio. Vinyl Sunday. Every last Sunday of each month. Godfather. Vinyl Sunday. All day on the radio station. Walk and tell the nation. Oi! Satol! Sata!
This is reggae music. Welcome to the sound. You need to look no further. The universe is found.
I tell you a piece of history there. A piece of history. Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali. What happened? Now, back in them days, Frank Sinatra was a very, very, very big in the United States of America. He packed out concert shows. Everything was Frank Sinatra. The biggest thing out there, his time. Hold on. The biggest thing out there right now, Frank Sinatra. And he has some very good black friends as well. Yeah, we use the word black because of course cover everything. He said, if you don't allow black people in this hotel or on these beaches, he ain't gonna come back here again.
Welcome to the sound.
And that's how black people got involved with many of the hotels out there because of Frank. Big up Frank, how you mean? Frank Sinatra. How you mean? Someone said to me a little while ago, play that extract again. Says, play it again. Godfather, you always play things once, never repeat. So how are we going to learn to know how to get these things across to other people and to our friends and colleagues? I had a phone call from a parent, and he told me that his daughter and his son sometimes tune into the Godfather show because they like the history that I tell them on a Sunday. I said to him, tell your children enough respect. Oh, you mean? Every time. Play it again? Okay, let's play it again.
Am I the only one that didn't know what happened between Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali? This is such a crazy story. So the story is told by Ali's former wife, Khalila, and she said one time her family took a trip to Miami, and when they got there, they wanted to go to the beach. But in the 60s, black people couldn't be on Miami Beach unless they were working. And if they were working, they had to have a card proving that they were working. Even the most famous black celebrities that were performing at the hotels on the beach couldn't stay on the beach. All the black performers had to stay at a hotel called the Hampton House on 27th Avenue. So the Ali family decided not to go to the beach. They went and checked into their hotel. And staying at this hotel was Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie. They're all hanging out at the hotel. Then all of a sudden this limo pulls up with Frank Sinatra in it. Frank hops out and says, we're all about to get on this bus and we're going to Miami Beach. So they all get on the bus. They pull up to this fancy hotel that Frank is performing at that night. They go to the auditorium. Frank gets on stage and he says to everyone, listen up. I'm supposed to perform here tonight. You sold a lot of tickets, but these seats in the front row are going to be full of black people. Also, you will allow black people to stay at your hotel. And if these two things don't happen, I'm never performing here again. So Frank and all the black celebrities leave that hotel, they go back to the Hampton House, and within a few hours, a car had been sent to the Hampton House from that hotel with a message for Frank Sinatra. And the messenger said that law has now been lifted. Blacks can now stay at our hotels, and blacks can also attend your performance. And that's when everything changed on Miami Beach. And then Frank said to everybody, my next stop is Las Vegas, and I'm going to do the same exact thing there. Wow. Big shout out to Frank Sinatra. This is a real dope story to me.
Reggae music, reggae time, vinyl Sunday this afternoon. Of course, it's 14 minutes past 1 here on a beautiful day outside. Oh, you mean? Beautiful day outside. Yeah, I know. Many of you having barbecues and all sorts outside right now. I ain't going to tell you what I'm having right now, but it's good. Yeah, man. Wife, you're happy with it still, you know, so I used to tell people about how my garden used to be and etc. And then someone says to me, this is about 5 years ago. Says to me, Godfather, I said, what God? You're always talking about your garden, etc. Send me a picture of your garden. You what? You what? No, man. No. I says, no. I wasn't even waiting for him to say to me, why not? Because why? Why do you want, I'm just telling you, if my garden's good, it's good. If your garden's good, it's good. I ain't going to share my garden with you. So yeah, that didn't happen. And I haven't heard from him for quite some time. I don't know. I don't know what's happened to him. But yeah, everybody has a garden, whether it's big, small, or large, or just have a few pots of flowers somewhere. It's growing, it's blossoming. You feel good to see whatever you're planting or you're growing. And most of the time you go to most of these garden centers to buy different things for your garden to make it look pretty. Because you want your garden to look as pretty as your house inside. Or your front of you see the front of the house? You know, you can drive around sometimes. You drive in the car, especially those who are driving in their 4x4 pickups and those stuff, and you're high up. And you can see more than when you're down in the car level. You look at different houses in the gardens and you say, yeah, that look good, that look good. Look on the condition of that one, then. You know, we do all that. Come on, car driving. Of course you do all that. You know what I mean? And it's a great feeling to be able to be in your own domain, fixing up, painting up, and yeah. And your neighbors walk past and look at your house and say, well, boy, yo, them people that, you know, the old time say, what do they do? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that's stereotyping behavior. What do they do? Because I've got someone in to clean my gutter down and wipe the windows down and spray the path and the shupum, done everything. Save me the energy, save my energy. You know what I mean? I always say to myself, I can do this, I can do that. And once I started, just like many men, they say they can do this, they can do that. Any ladies, they can do this and do that. And by the time you start, it's like, sure. You know, pass me my phone. Let me just find somebody to come do the job for me right now. Just get in the money, man. Let's live and live. The man who's doing the job wants to live, earn some money. You want to rest and relax and take time out to relax. You know, and it shares. Each one help each other. So sometimes, guys, when you think you can do the job, you got a bit of loose change. Get to somebody else to do the job, but get a professional. And when you get a professional who is fully insured as well. Because if anything goes wrong, yeah, you're covered. But all right, so reggae music, Vinyl Sunday. You know, every time I start Vinyl Sunday, end of each month, how I start, I like to finish the same way and probably even on top of things, on top of things. You know, so let me just play you this one right now. I got more things to play because I spend times in my studio just doing things. I'm going to tell you how I do them. I ain't going to tell you how I do them, but I do them. And like I said, let me say shout out to DJ Deluxe. All right, obviously he's on board right now with the Godfather. He's the one that was at Caesars last week, Saturday. What a night. What a night. I don't think Caesars has been that full for a long time. Not Caesars, the bank. Sorry, the bank. Yeah. Well, it was for the Caesars people, though. Yeah, of course. And, yeah. Also, Gyro. Of course, they were there last night. And also as well, Joe's going to be at the 163 Lounge next week. It's bank holiday, isn't it? It is. All right, so, yeah, Sunday is going to be a full house. Wolverhampton. You know, I got something for Wolverhampton. I just didn't find it. You'll be surprised. Gonna play it next week, and I'll tell you what it is. But I found something that you ain't gonna like. Right. Also, as well, Ghetto Downbeat as well. Big up the whole entourage. Big up on yourself, manners and talk of respect. Of course, big up Birdie. I'll see you send me some details. I'll look at that and we can talk about that next week, and also probably one of you can come and explain to the people. Yeah, shouldn't be difficult, should it? All right, okay. And then also whoever got, of course, Vinyl Sunday. We have the T-shirt with Taka. We have the T-shirt right now. Vinyl Sunday. Big up Valentino. All right, so he'll be with us 5 o'clock till 7:30. All right, so sometimes you might not hear his voice sometimes because he's a very busy person, but the music, the selection, the autograph of everything that he puts together, yeah, you can't fail it. All right? Okay, so Mr. Fix at 7:30 till 10. You know Mr. Fix there already. Yeah? Also part of the team as well. So we have many conversations, talk about many things. We get our structures together for each individual show. If one show needs to be a little bit more, we talk about it. We discuss it as a team. We do that here on the platform for the Keep It Real team Sunday platform. All right? Okay. Right. So, Tom Wang. Who is Tom Wang? Japanese. Japanese in Jamaica. Indians in Jamaica. All kind of nations in Jamaica. But who had the cream of the crop in the sound system world to start off with? I want you to take a listen to this here. SkylineRadio.org.uk. It is 1:20 on a Sunday afternoon. Sun is shining bright. Everything nice. 2 parts to this. Take a listen to this.
Before reggae, before dancehall, before hip-hop, there was one man, one yard, and a sound nobody had ever heard. His name is Tom Wang. Tom the Great Sebastian. He builds the speakers himself. He invents the lawn dance. He hands a microphone to a young man named Winston Cooper, and the world's first MC is born. Then the men with money arrive, and Tom walks away. He carried a record to every dance he ever ran. No label, just the number 7 scratched into the groove. He never played it publicly. Nobody knows what was on it. The full story goes deeper, because this is history they never told you, and it's only just beginning. Before reggae, before dancehall, before hip-hop.
Before anything else, my people, before anything else. Well, I got to that stage where I said to myself, there has to be another part to this because it just stopped there. So it stopped there. So I went hunting. And And I'm there scratching my head. How's just sometimes they play these things on extracts on the WhatsApp or on YouTube, wherever, and leave you limbering, leave you wondering. So what the other part? He walks around with a record. He doesn't play it, but it's number 7. It's scratched on it, number 7. What does number 7 mean? What does number 7 mean to you? Or what does it mean to me? Number 7 means a lot to me. Yeah. Of course. It means a lot to me. Part 2. We have it. We have part 2. You ready? I found it. I spent time on the internet looking for it. I said to myself, the more I think about the internet, the more I do things I can get to find more things about certain things. Now, in terms of retirement and pension and all these things, and many of us are reaching that stage right now. And unfortunately, some of you have got to wait until you're 67 to get your pension and so forth. It's a bit unfair, isn't it? It is unfair. Someone says to me, Godfather, you're kind of lucky. I said, I suppose I am. Number 7. So, but, we're going to find things to do. And this is, like I said before in previous shows, this is my hobby. I love doing this. At one stage, I said, nah, me do this? Nah, I can't wait. Nah, man said to me, yo, brother, you see, once you start do what you do, you're going to get a lot of people behaving funny. And a lot of people have been behaving very, very funny. But you know something? In terms of doing something when you retire, at least I'm doing something that I like and I love. From day one, from my early days of my bedroom back as a youngster, to a platform on the YouTube to the world, using the mechanism that society has created for all man and woman to use, the internet. Gotta say shout out to Google, because Google control the whole thing. That's the real engine machine for every platform you see out there. So I took time out to use the skills I have. I'm not that fast though, but once I get going, you can't hold me back. Take a listen to this, part 2. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Part 2. Tamwang, the first sound system
not scratch
in Jamaica. Take a listen to this here right now. Godfather live in the man cave. Keep it real.
The record arrived with no label, not scratched off, not soaked away in the Kingston humidity, simply never printed. A plain shellac 78 pressed into a brown paper sleeve. No artist name, no title, no catalog number. Just a single digit hand-etched into the run-out groove with something sharp, maybe a nail. The number 7. Tom Wong turned it over in his hands that evening in 1947, standing behind the counter of his dry goods shop on Orange Street, while outside the last vendors were folding up their carts and the Kingston air was thickening with diesel and frangipani. He held the record up to the bare bulb hanging from the ceiling, squinted at it, then slid it back into its sleeve and set it under the counter with the quiet deliberateness of a man storing something he hadn't yet decided what to do with. Nobody who was there that night could later say who brought it in. Tom Wong was born into the complicated middle of Jamaican society, not black, not white, not quite either world, and therefore by the brutal arithmetic of colonial life, both less and more than the sum of his contradictions. His family had come from China, part of the wave of Hakka and Cantonese migrants who arrived in the Caribbean through the 19th and early 20th centuries. First as indentured laborers, after emancipation, emptied the sugar estates of their captive workforce, and then as small merchants, shopkeepers, and traders who carved their living out of the gap between the plantocracy and the majority black population they served. The Chinese in Jamaica occupied an odd, precarious, often profitable space, trusted by neither the colonial elite nor the working poor as genuine members of their world, and yet embedded in the daily commerce of almost every community, from the deep rural parishes to the hot crowded lanes of downtown Kingston. Tom's family ran a dry goods establishment. Fabric, flour, provisions, a bit of this and that, the kind of shop where a woman could buy 3 yards of cotton on credit and pay back pennies a week until it was settled. The shop was not a fortune, it was a foothold. And Tom, who had grown up watching his father calculate margins in a ledger, written partly in Chinese characters that Tom could read only imperfectly, understood from early that survival required more than hard work. It required reading the room, It required knowing what people wanted before they knew they wanted it themselves. What Kingston wanted, in the years just after World War II, was sound. The city was alive with a particular kind of desperation and energy that historians have since tried and largely failed to adequately describe. The war had reshuffled things. Jamaican men had fought in the British forces, had traveled, had seen other worlds and come home to find nothing much changed except themselves. Migration to Britain was beginning. The bauxite companies were arriving. The roads were crowded with people flooding in from the parishes, looking for work, looking for something, building zinc fence communities on the edges of the city that would eventually become the garrison yards, the world would later come to know as the cradles of reggae. The middle classes had their clubs and their hotels and their gramophone parties in proper parlors. The working poor and the unemployed, packed into the tenement yards of Trenchtown and Maxfield Avenue and Backawall, had each other. They had the street. And when the night came, and the heat broke slightly, and the rum was flowing, they had the desire to dance. Tom Wong saw this. He had always been watching. That was the particular gift, or perhaps the particular survival mechanism, of a man who existed at the margins of multiple communities, simultaneously, the capacity to observe everyone without being fully claimed by anyone. He began to assemble what would become the first proper mobile sound system in Jamaica around 1947 and 1948. The technology itself was not conceptually complex. A turntable, an amplifier, an array of large speaker boxes. But in Kingston at that time, what Tom was building was extraordinary, bordering on miraculous, in the context of what surrounded it. He sourced the components, piecemeal, through the networks of Chinese Jamaican merchants who had connections to Miami, to New York, to the port supply chains that fed the island. The speaker boxes he had built locally, enormous wooden cabinets that could take a sound and hurl it 3 blocks in every direction. The amplifiers were military surplus, the circuitry reworked and rewired by men who understood electricity through instinct as much as training. The records he acquired through the same transnational networks, American R&B, the raw gut-bucket blues coming out of New Orleans. Fats Domino before Fats Domino was Fats Domino, Professor Longhair tearing apart every conventional idea of rhythm, Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5 making jump blues sound like it was being played specifically for the people standing in a Kingston yard. Jazz, gospel-inflected rhythm and blues from the black radio stations that Jamaica could sometimes pull in faintly on a clear night, the signal ghosting across the water from Florida or the Gulf Coast. Tom collected these records with a kind of ferocity that his dry goods business disguised. The shop was his front in both senses of the word, the face he showed the world, and the income that financed what he was actually building. The first dances he ran were small things. A yard, a stretch of road blocked off with rope, a field behind a church whose minister had been persuaded to look the other way. He called himself Tom the Great Sebastian, the name landing somewhere between showman's bravado and the kind of aspirational title a man gives himself when no one else is likely to grant it. The Great Sebastian. There was something both magnificent and melancholy in claiming your own greatness out loud, in a city that had never once offered to acknowledge it. He sets up the speakers. He runs the cables. He puts the needle on the record. And Kingston hears something it has never heard before. Not just music. It has music. Always had music. But music like this. Music this loud. Music that doesn't float out of a hotel window or a parlor or a mento band playing on a stage 50 yards away. Music that is inside your chest. Music that fills a space completely and makes that space feel for the length of a song like it is the most important place on earth. The people come. They come first out of curiosity, then out of need, then out of the kind of habit that is really just love wearing practical clothes. The lawn dance circuit was how it worked. Tom would set up at one location, run the dance from late evening until the small hours, then pack down and move to the next spot. Entrance fees were cheap, affordable for the yard communities he was serving. and the money he took in went back into buying more records, upgrading the amplifiers, adding to the speaker array. It was a feedback loop. The better the system sounded, the more people came, and the more money he had to make it better still. He developed an almost scientific obsession with sound quality, with the specific warmth of bass frequencies at high volume, with the clarity of a trumpet line cutting through a humid night when the air was thick with bodies and sweat and the smell of rum punch and jerked meat from the pan outside. He also developed an obsession with secrecy. The records were the weapon. In this emerging world of competitive sound system operation, and Tom understood intuitively that competition was coming even before it arrived, the records were the edge, a song nobody else had, a pressings imported from New Orleans that hadn't reached any other operator's collection, was worth more than the amplifier and the speaker boxes combined. Tom began scratching the labels off his most prized 78S, covering them with his own paper sleeves, or simply soaking the printed label off entirely in warm water. If a rival sent someone to the dance to find out what he was playing, they would see the record, hear the song, and know nothing. The practice became standard across the Jamaican sound system world, and persists in modified form to this day. Exclusive dub plates, locked tracks, the DJ who will not name his rhythm. Tom didn't invent secrecy, but he formalized it as competitive strategy in a context where music was commerce and the song was the product. That unnamed record, the one with the 7 scratched into the groove, stayed under the counter through this whole period, silent and unplayed. It was during these early dances that Winston Cooper entered the picture. Cooper was a young man from the streets who had a gift that Tom recognized immediately, and that no one yet had a word for. Cooper could talk, not just talk, perform, translate, amplify. He understood that the space between songs was not dead time to be endured, but live time to be worked. He begins moving the microphone. He begins speaking to the crowd in a cadenced, rhythmically charged way that lands halfway between speech and song, calling out the dancers, bigging up the area, hyping the next record before the needle had even found the groove. Think about what you have been told about where hip-hop began. A South Bronx block party. A teenager named Kool Herc with 2 turntables. 1973. That story is true. And it begins 26 years earlier in a Kingston yard where a Chinese Jamaican shopkeeper set up speakers that shook the ground and handed a microphone to a young man who hadn't yet invented a name for what he was about to do. He pulls from American radio announcer style, the booming theatrical delivery he'd heard from stateside DJs when the signal comes in on a clear night, and fuses it with the patois and the rhythms of Kingston street life, the verbal sparring of the yard, the preacher's call and response, the rum bar boasting. Tom the Great Sebastian gives Winston Cooper a name, Count Machuki. Count Machuki is not simply a hype man. He is the first. He is the prototype of what would, over the following 3 decades, evolve into the DJ toaster, then the dancehall MC, then the rapper, the human voice writing a rhythm, not as melody, but as rhythm itself, words used as percussion and declaration simultaneously. When cultural historians trace the line from Grandmaster Flash to Jay-Z and beyond, that line runs through the Bronx block parties of the 1970s, which were themselves explicitly inspired by the Jamaican sound system tradition DJ Kool Herc brought to New York when he migrated from Kingston as a child. And that tradition, that specific act of a man speaking rhythmically over recorded music to a crowd in a yard, was born in Tom the Great Sebastian's dance with Count Machuki at the microphone. Tom was shrewd enough to see what he had. He built the partnership carefully, creating a presentation that was part concert, part theater, part communal ritual. Count Machuki would warm the crowd. Tom would read the room, selecting his records with deliberate strategy, starting light, building the temperature, reading which songs were turning the crowd from an audience into a single organism of moving bodies, saving his strongest material for midnight and after. when inhibition had dissolved and the dance was at its most urgent. He had an instinct for the moment. People who were there described it later as something close to religious, the way the crowd submitted to what was coming through those speakers, the way the bass frequencies seemed to reorganize something in the body. But the world around Tom's dances was always already complicated in ways that pleasure could only temporarily suspend. Kingston in the late 1940s and early 1950s was a city under compounding pressures, colonial governance that was beginning to crack, independence was coming, though the exact shape of it was still unclear, mass unemployment, the sprawling poverty of the yards where people lived 5 and 6 to a room, the violence that flickered at the edges of everything. The dances were respite. They were also, inevitably, sites of those same pressures. Men came with grievances. Arguments started. The edge between a party and a confrontation was not always clear, and Tom navigated this constantly, managing the crowd through the music itself, knowing when to drop a slower record to diffuse tension, when Count Machuki's voice needed to cut through and address something directly. Tom paid his performers, his sound boys who moved and connected the equipment, the men who worked the gate. He paid them. It was not always generous, and the records of what arrangements existed are fragmentary. But multiple accounts confirm that Tom ran a professional operation in an era when that was not the norm, and not easy. He took the enterprise seriously because he understood that it was an enterprise, that he had built something real, something with value, and that value needed to be protected and extended. And then from the east and from the west of his world, the rivals came. Arthur Duke Reed was a former police officer who had opened a liquor store on Bond Street with his wife Lucille, and who had more money, more aggression, and considerably more willingness to use force than Tom the Great Sebastian ever displayed. Reed was physically imposing. Photographs from the era show a large man who dressed flamboyantly, often with a crown on his head and a shotgun in his hand or slung over his shoulder, a costume that was both theater and credible threat. His sound system, the Trojan, arrived on the scene in the early 1950s and came at Tom's dances with an ambition that was openly eliminationist. This was not friendly competition. Duke Reed wanted the circuit. He wanted the crowd. He wanted to be the only name that mattered. Clement Seymour Dodd, Coxsony. Sir Coxsony's downbeat arrived from a different direction. Dodd was the son of a sound system operator himself, had grown up around the technology and the culture, and had contacts in the American South through the agricultural worker program that brought Jamaicans to Florida to work the crops. Those contacts meant access to records, early, deep, obscure records that hadn't reached the Kingston market through normal channels. Dodd was cerebral, where Duke Reed was physical. He competed on the quality of the music, on finding the harder-to-find pressing, on the specific sonic surprise of a record that no one in the crowd had ever heard before. He was patient and strategic in a way that would eventually make him one of the central architects of Jamaican popular music. Studio One, the label he later founded, remains arguably the most important single catalog in the history of reggae and ska. It is a Friday night in Kingston, early 1953. Coxsony Dodd stands at a record counter in a crate-filled back room in Overtown, Miami, running his thumb along a row of 78s. Nobody back home has heard. He pulls one, turns it over. The label says something in small print. He has to hold to the light to read. He buys 12 copies. When he brings that record to Kingston and drops it on his system the following weekend, the crowd does not move for 3 minutes. Then it moves all at once, a single organism, the way crowds only move when they hear something that reorganizes something inside them. Duke Reed's selector, standing at the back of the crowd, tries to read the label from 20 feet away. He can't. Coxsony had soaked it off on the boat home. Between Reed's muscle and Dodd's musical intelligence, Tom the Great Sebastian found himself squeezed. The mechanics of a sound system clash were brutal in their simplicity. Two operators set up in proximity, sometimes in the same yard, sometimes in competing venues on the same night, and the crowd votes with their feet and their presence. The operator with the better records, the better amplification, the better MC, the better reputation. That operator draws the crowd, and the other operator plays to diminishing returns. Word traveled faster than sound in Kingston. If Tom the Great Sebastian got beaten on a Friday night, everyone in Trenchtown knew it by Saturday morning. And here, around the middle of this story, somewhere in the early 1950s, when the pressure was mounting and the nights were getting harder, there is a detail that keeps appearing and disappearing in the oral accounts. People who were there talk about a record Tom sometimes carried with him to the dances, but never played, something he kept in its brown sleeve, something no one could identify. It's mentioned once in passing in a conversation recorded decades later, the speaker uncertain of the year, certain only that the sleeve was plain, and that Tom was careful with it in a way he wasn't careful with anything else. The Clash format had implications beyond the music. It imported violence into the dance hall in a way that would metastasize over the following decades. Operators hired enforcers. Records were deliberately damaged. Needles dragged across rivals' most prized pressings. Speaker cables cut in the dark. Duke Reed's men were particularly feared. The physicality of his sound system operation was inseparable from the physicality of his presence. You played against the Trojan with the knowledge that losing had consequences that went beyond embarrassment. Tom the Great Sebastian had built a culture, but he had built it into an environment that was becoming less and less hospitable to the kind of man he was. He was a merchant, a businessman, a man who understood profit margins and long-term asset management. He was not, at the core of it, a soldier, and the sound system world of the early to mid-1950s was becoming a war. The stress is not hard to imagine, though the historical record is thin on Tom's interior life. He was a Chinese-Jamaican man in a world that was rapidly being redefined along lines of black cultural ownership, lines that were entirely justified, given what was being created and what had been historically taken from that community, but that had no obvious place for him. The sound system culture he had founded was rooted in the African-Jamaican communal traditions of the yard, in the spirituality and the resistance and the specific sonic language of the Jamaican working poor. Tom had loved those things. He had served those communities. He had, in some genuine and not merely commercial sense, believed in the music, but he was not from those communities in the way that Duke Reed was, in the way that Coxsone Dodd was. He moved through them as he had always moved through everything, as an outsider who understood insiders, a watcher who had learned to create experiences for the people he watched. That position, which had been his advantage at the beginning, became a kind of loneliness as the stakes rose. Count Machuki remained loyal to Tom through the peak years. The relationship between them was the closest thing the historical record shows to a genuine human bond in Tom's professional life, the shopkeeper and the voice, the strategist and the performer, the man who built the system and the man who made it speak. Machuki's artistry was undeniable and became widely recognized as the dances grew in scale and reputation. He was the voice of Tom the Great Sebastian's operation in a literal sense, the sound that announced its presence, the personality that held the crowd between songs. And he was, in a deeper sense, the proof that Tom's instinct had been right, that the human voiceover recorded music was not a supplement to the experience but its center. The pattern of Jamaican cultural history is in some ways a pattern of invention followed by dispossession. The people who invent are rarely the people who profit, and the people who profit are rarely the people who are remembered. This is not uniquely Jamaican. It is the history of every artistic tradition that has emerged from the Black Atlantic world, from blues to jazz to hip-hop, the relentless cycle of creation and extraction. But in the specific case of Tom the Great Sebastian, the dispossession has a particular texture, because Tom was himself neither the corporate entity nor the black working class community at the center of the culture he created. He was the middle, the catalytic presence, the man who saw the opportunity and had the resources and the relationships to act on it first. History has complicated feelings about the middle. By the mid-1950s, Duke Reed and Coxsone Dodd had effectively conquered the sound system circuit. Their names were the ones that defined the era, the ones that would echo forward into the history books and the documentary films and the academic studies. Reed's Trojan sound and Dodd's downbeat were the poles around which Kingston's musical world organized itself, and the community loyalty their operations commanded was total. Young musicians were beginning to record specifically for the sound systems. The sound system as the first distribution network for recorded Jamaican popular music, the step that would lead directly to ska, and from ska to rocksteady, and from rocksteady to reggae, and from reggae to dancehall, the whole magnificent lineage. Tom the Great Sebastian stepped back from the scene he had created. The accounts differ on the timing and the manner. Some suggest a gradual withdrawal over several years. Some describe a more abrupt exit. What they agree on is the absence, the slow disappearance of the name from the dance circuit, the consolidation of the business back into the dry goods shop, the man who had filled Kingston nights with sound retreating into the quieter commerce of flour and fabric, and the daily accounting of a small merchant's life. He was not defeated in any single dramatic clash, not driven out by violence, not arrested or exiled. He simply stopped. He let the thing he had built become the thing it was becoming without him, and he went back to the counter and the ledger and the careful calculation of margins that had defined his family's place in Jamaica for 2 generations before him. This is in its way a more interesting and more devastating story than a dramatic downfall. The man who starts something and then watches it become unrecognizable, who sees his creation claimed and shaped and amplified by forces he unleashed but cannot control, is a figure that history produces with some regularity and almost never honors adequately. Count Machuki continued performing. He went on to work with other sound systems, to refine and develop the art of toasting that Tom's dances had given him a stage to invent, to become recognized in his own right as a founding figure of Jamaican DJ culture. He lived a long life and gave interviews in his later years that documented the early history of the sound system world with a specificity and a warmth that constitute much of what we know about those first dances. He spoke of Tom the Great Sebastian with respect. He spoke of the music Tom chose, the care he took with the speakers, the particular atmosphere of those early yard dances before the stakes became what they later became. In those late accounts, Tom is present as a kind of benign gravity, the man at the center of the origin story, the figure around whom the whole constellation first arranged itself. Duke Reed never acknowledged Tom, Coxsone Dodd, who went on to a legacy so enormous that his absence from any conversation about Jamaican music would render that conversation nonsensical, also never prominently credited Tom as the originator of what Dodd himself refined and scaled. This is not simply ingratitude, though it is that too. It is the way that origin stories work in competitive industries. The person who perfects and scales a thing tends to displace the memory of the person who first attempted it. The Wright brothers erased the memory of Otto Lilienthal. Coxsone Dodd and Duke Reed did not erase Tom Wong so much as they simply moved so far forward that the backward view became obscured. What Tom the Great Sebastian had invented was not just a technology. He had invented a social space. The lawn dance, as Tom ran it, was a specific thing, an outdoor gathering organized around recorded music, amplified to a scale that created collective experience, mediated by a human voice that spoke directly to the crowd in its own language, in its own idiom, about its own life and its own desires. This is the template. Everything that came after, every dance hall session, every sound clash, every reggae dance in Kingston or London or Toronto or New York, every block party in the South Bronx, every rave in a warehouse, every festival main stage is downstream of what Tom Wong built.
Well, Well, all right, my people. Good afternoon. Welcome, scannerradio.org.uk. I know you got yourself kind of grooved into that conversation there. Tom Wang, the great Sebastian sound system, one of the first sounds in Jamaica at the time. There's a bit of a history for many people, sound system wise, and for the ladies. There wasn't really much ladies at the time doing sound system or playing music at the time, like you have lots of women now doing their thing. Enough respect. Of course, that time, I think the only person playing music at the time was probably Coxson's mom. She had a wine set up in a garden or whatever, and she would play the songs while Coxson's dad went to America to bring those soul songs back to the Jamaican people in Kingston, and that's how that started. All right, so, but Tom Wang, the great Sebastian sound system back in that time, what a story, what a story. But we don't have much time to go right now. But I want to say thank you for all those who took time out to listen and also to be on YouTube as well. All right, so yeah, 4 months gone. Next week is another new month, 5th month. We go into April, May. All right, so something to look forward to. We're bringing enough things that we've been doing for such a long time. We can also replay them as well, because some people say to me that Godfather, you only play them once, we don't hear them again, so we don't know what's happening or whatever. So we're gonna replay some stuff that we've had from a long time, and for those who are actually in the mood to hear things again, just like how you hear a song on the radio, you can sing it off by heart without any instructions. And many of you can do that. If I says you sing me a Morgan Heritage song, Down by the River, you could probably sing that song. If I says to you sing an Eric Donaldson, Cherry Old Baby, you probably could sing that one. But yeah, you know what I mean? Many songs you could sing over and over and over. If I said to the church people, sing me Amazing Grace, they probably could sing that. Yeah, and all these things. So some information that we've forgotten about or that was never told to us back in them times, we can bring them here to the platform here on the YouTube, on the Keep It Real Sunday show in the Man Cave, and of course scannerradio.org.uk and the YouTube as well. All right, so shout out to all the other platforms around the cut. I can hear someone outside doing their gardening. It's perfect weather for that right now, so it's a good thing we only got a few more minutes to go, and let them get on with their garden, and I'm going to chill out as well. But my people, I hope you've had a good time, a good day listening to various things that I do on a Sunday. Sunday is the place to be, where we give you a lot of different things for all age group. We've started off with some big people music this morning, and we said we have some bigger people too. We haven't been up in the main room. I've got my stack here of records I usually use from time to time to, as you can see me here, that pile there. I've got more racks like this, full, going right down to the bottom right now. But I didn't have time to do that right now. So, ladies, I'm going to leave you a song. Ladies, you know what you want to call it? You know what you want to call a woman? I have a tendency of calling a woman a certain way if I don't know her name. I go, ooh, you know, that wartime Jamaican mummy call, ooh, you know, turn around, you know. Yeah, I did it to a girl at work the other day, ooh, because I didn't know her name, so ooh. And she turned around and looked at me, and she looked around and said, yeah, I'm me, man, I'm me. I said, you know that tone of, you know that word, don't you? It's a hello, ooh. Well, all right, so I think I need a hot drink to sort of get it more clearer, but never mind. Ladies, here's a song for you right now. Stand by for the rest of the Sunday team. Vine on Sunday to the world. What we say? Vine on Sunday to the world. Every Sunday, last Sunday of every month with the Sunday team. Okay, girls. Okay, here's a song for you, ladies. Sing it with me. Yeah, of course. Why not? It's head-on collision on a Sunday morning, 11 till 2 with the Godfather. I tell you, to all the ladies right now, I'm not going to tell you where I got this record from. I'm not going to say where, but I've had it for a long time. 1977. Yeah, man. To all the ladies out there. Yeah, man. This show, my show, it's your show. What's that?
Mind-blowing decision.
Cause it's, come on, collision. My.
Mind-blowing decision. Cause it's head-on collision. So I thought
Something made only for himself, kept only for him.
To all these decisions lying in my mind, holding hands or put my arms around her waist. Neither one of these two will I try and haste. Taking my time to work the problem out, yet trying.
You're not tuned. Pull it up again. Pull it up again. Pull it up again.
It is the last one for the last time from me. From me to you to me. It's goodbye. God bless. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the weather. Yeah, man, I'm out of here. Bye for now.
Mind-blowing decision. Cause it's head-on collision. Mind-blowing decision. Cause it's head-on collision. So I thought to myself I'd give plenty time to all these decisions lying in my mind. Holding hands or put my arms around her waist. Neither one of these two will I try and haste. Taking my time to work the problem out, yet trying to convince her that there is no need for doubt. Decision, cause it's head-on collision. Mind-blowing decision, cause it's head-on collision. So I tell myself again to think deep within, and remember when we first met we were only friends. Throw a kiss or try to taste her tender lips. Will these be the factors that will make our life a trip? But just in case things don't settle well with her, I'll say that I'm sorry and keep hoping for the best. How to go? Is she mine? I want to know.